I think it's always helpful for our space. It just shines considerable light on this cannabis industry that more and more people are talking about. So ultimately, I definitely welcome this. At the same time, I think there are definitely questions around kind of the frothiness of some of these stocks and the multiples that they're trading at. I think a big function of that is probably driven by retail investor demand with lack of alternative investment options.
Right. Walk us to what you think are reasonable valuations based on the projected revenue base for the industry, say in Canada alone over the next few years.
What are the reasonable valuations? I think that's a great question. I think realistically, Canada is not where we're going to be, focusing our attention down the line. They've had a great opportunity to kind of be a first mover advantage with with legalizing cannabis at the national level. So I think that's been fantastic for some of these public companies to have access to the capital markets. At the same time, I think what we're going to see more and more is how are U.S. companies starting to try to access the capital markets, be it in Canada or elsewhere.
I'm just looking through your portfolio, Yoni. I don't recognize any of these names. What sort of companies are you looking into, and why not these Tilrays and Cannabis growths that we talk about and that there's so much retail interest around right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for Casa Verde, we're a venture fund based in Los Angeles, and we focus on kind of the ancillary investment opportunities. So that's kind of the legal, scalable picks and shovels that support the industry. Things like technology, like e-commerce, like services like recruiting, financial services, things of that nature. We feel that these are considerably more scalable opportunities and thus much more representative of kind of a true exposure to the cannabis theme as opposed to singular names like a Tilray or like a Cannabis growth.
Well, we're looking at Tilray right now, which is down a bit, but trading at almost 1,000 years worth of its current revenues. Obviously, they're going to go up a lot, those revenues. But Yoni, give me a sense 5 years out as to how you sort of see this industry from some of the names you just mentioned that are providers into the overall ecosystem to how many people are actually going to be using this both for medical and recreational purposes.
I think in 5 years' time, perhaps earlier, this is going to be fairly ubiquitous. I presume that every single big alcohol company will be in this space. You already see big tobacco coming in. In fact, recently Imperial Brands invested alongside us into a company called Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies. So that also kind of opens up the whole biotech space. In that vein, obviously, GW Pharma is probably one of the most well-known and well-respected kind of companies working on cannabinoid research. So I think, just with more time, more access to capital markets, this will kind of be part and parcel of our everyday life.